This boy should be in school. In fact, he is. He's 17 years old and goes to a Soweto high school. But today he's taken the day off to take stock of his business, trading in mandrakes and dagga inside the school ground, for which he has to carry a gun.
It's like when I'm in school, ne, kanjani, already. Banukufika bayazi ngele zavanga ngithi. Wamele manje ngihlale ngise emahlomane ukuthi already mabafika. Nami ngihlale ngiright yabona. Ngibabhekile ukuthi mabafika nami ngizokwazi ukuziprotect escale. Hayi ukuthi for bantwana bescale or kanjani yabona. Sure. I'm not scared. Because I have to live longer than any person who have to live in this world, you see. Because when I'm not carrying a gun, I will die.
This is Inanda, a township south of Durban. It's notorious for violence and gangsterism. Gun-Free South Africa is a non-government organization. They're campaigning to rid township schools of guns. A primary school, one would think, would not need such a talk. Just a week ago, teachers here found pupils carrying knives. Some have only ever seen guns in movies, but for many, they are no laughing matter. Many children bring flowers and toys to show and tell with teachers, but these children choose to speak of horror. Inanda streets are rough, so rough that not only children but adults run scared. One of the teachers has witnessed several crimes inside the school gates. Now he comes to school with a gun.
Even the primary school is not safe because even high school kids and outsiders can come in and hijack us and cause problems for us within the school. Even the fact that it's a primary school is neither here nor there. If somebody can assure me that I'm safe within the school without my gun, obviously I'll have to go along with that. But as it is, no ways. I'll have to carry a gun.
Here, no threat is taken lightly. The boy who spoke of the shooting at assembly was threatened when he returned to class. His schoolmates said they would give his name to the shooter and tell him to get him. The thought of a gun can strike fear into the heart of a grown man, even more so for a 10-year-old. The boy comes back to class only after his classmates have promised not to reveal his identity. This is the scene of a fatal shooting at a high school. One pupil gunned down another. As in most cases of school violence, this one was also in a township school. Violence in the playground is a fact of life in townships.
A 17-year-old suspect has been apprehended after shooting dead a fellow pupil at a school northeast of Pretoria. The victim,
this was the scene of a pupil-on-pupil shooting earlier this year at a private school in Pretoria. It made news, big news. Yet violence in many township schools, including shootings, feature less prominently in the media. Some say it's because they happen so often. The word township is common in most incidents, from stabbings to shootings to beating of teachers. A life riddled with gangsterism beyond the school gate is another factor. This school got some media attention earlier this year. A damp, urine-soaked corridor. It was here that the fate of a 17-year-old pupil was decided. Details remain sketchy, but another pupil was apparently fooling around with a gun. A shot was fired, hitting Nkosikhona Ngema in the back.
Umoya wami ukhathazeka ngaso sonke isikhathi mangicabanga ngalo mzukulu wami. Ukhathazeka ngaso sonke isikhathi ngoba ngangingcono ukuthi bekumntwana oyisixhayixhayi ngabe ngiyezwa ukuthi mhlambe khona akwenza. Bengemntwana oyisixhayixhayi. Ube bahlonipha futhi abadala kunaye. Ngicabanga ukuthi kusuke esendaweni eyondlekile safe esikoleni. Ngadumala namanje ngisashawa uvalo ukuthi kanti esikoleni kukhona ukufa. Ngoba ngiyangimqoqe ngithi akase ukuhamba ebusuku ahamba emgwaqweni. Ngithemba ngithi esikoleni usendaweni engcono.
Since Nkosikona's death, parents have hired a private security guard for the school, trying to make it safer.
We believe then the school will be safe when we got a security. Because when we don't have the security, then the school won't be safe.
Impela ngibona ngathi akukho phepha esikoleni makunje ukuba kube khona ingane eziphatha ibhamu esikoleni. Isibhamu esikoleni senzani isibhamu esikoleni?
Another township, the same problems outside the school gates. Brian Ramadilo works for the Education Rights Project. They hold workshops with local communities to make them aware of their legal rights when getting their children educated. One such right is learning, free from fear and intimidation.
But I think I should just tell you...
But getting this enforced is no easy task. And whose job is it to keep the teachers and pupils safe?
I think most of them are quite correct, actually. But now the first thing is that it is true indeed that
the problems these youngsters face in getting an education are a far cry from the safety of suburban schools.
The problem is the locations within which the schools are, which are themselves very, very violent. So I think you can't deal with the problem of violence in schools without also dealing with the immediate surroundings of the school. When you look at schools that are located in relatively wealthy areas, they don't have such huge problems. I mean, they do have problems of indiscipline, not as widespread, and they're few, and they can be dealt with quite easily at the level of governing bodies and so on. But I think schools that are located in very poor areas and under-resourced, the problem of violence that is endemic in the community comes into the school.
This is not a weekend. It's barely midday in the middle of a school week. Every Wednesday and Friday, also went to school shut at noon for so-called sports day. Some do indeed play sport. Others loiter around. They show invitations, some say, to crime. 2 weeks ago, vandals burned down a classroom at this school.
If the department were to think of a steel palisade fence, I think that one would be strong enough to last. Because I think our biggest problem is people easily come into the school because there are holes all over the shore.
Yes, like what?
Sometimes the menace is inside the school gate. Here, pupils were discovered with weapons. They are there to use on each other or to enforce illegal deals inside the school gates.
If the weather is not cold, how is the weather? Right?
Some drug dealers are pupils themselves.
Yeah, I sell drugs at school, you see. Yeah, because kwamanje kunzima uyabona. Alright imali angiyitholi ngendlela eziright uyabona. Into yenza ukuthi manje ngithole imali yokuthi manje ngiziphandele ngibhayise i-drugs lengibhayisayo kwamanje. Ayithola ke into engisho. Alright imali yasevasithi asiyitholi ngoba manje uma uqeda isigelo ugcina soblomile uyayithola lento. Ngeke manje ukuthi uyithole imali kumele uyenze lento engiyenzayo uyoziphandela ayithola. Ukuthi ube mjojo uyabona. Kwamanje sisafara. Alright ngiyezwa libele bathi freedom. Freedom yakhona siyazi thina yabona ngoba zange sikhule sinomuntu osigayidayo ukuthi well right into eso neso i-wrong yabona sikhula nje sirafu yabona sikhula nje sikhulisa imali yobutsotsi imali yokubhayisa ama-drugs i-uniform sithenga kanje ile mali yama-drugs.
Then there are times the pupils turn on the teachers. At this school 4 weeks ago, pupils beat a group of teachers unconscious. They accuse them of having affairs with schoolgirls. All these are government schools. Anyone trying to stem the tide of violence must negotiate with the education department first. This can take time. In the meantime, the violence continues.
Yes, good afternoon. Take a seat. Thank you. Nobody at the Department of Education is coming up to say, I can work with gun-free South Africa. That is my frustration. You speak to this person, you are referred to, he says, no, go to so and so, go to so and so. Now she says we are restructuring, and it feels to me that we are starting a new page with him, a very, very clean page with the Department of Education.
This is Ganyamazan in Mpumalanga, a province whose schools have made many headlines recently. And it's not always the pupils who get out of hand. Kenneth Mpofu would know.
Saphakela amaphoyisa bathi bona basimikise emakhaya nabasobamba nathi lemgwembe bafike basikhumula basipasa ngedinzamo basibamba basimilisa so sina basuka bangishaya ngelibhodlela enhloko nasose sami sala ekhaya labo nasifike bangishaya nakhona selubhuda ngikhungetiwe emagabheni watsabula nenzamo ngangemtini sebese watsabula plastic lesetulu namaplastic layelo laba fayethu tuwe makapa tsabla yon so washisa ngegun light so ngithondisela.
Kenneth was tortured by his own teacher, who accused him of stealing from her handbag. It's an isolated case, yet there are fears that other teachers in the province could crack when working with unruly, dangerous pupils. They could be tempted down the same path.
Shothi ngiyabuva buhlungu ngakubona ngalo mntwana nami ngoba kube kuthi nami ngifana letinye tinyanga naye bekathothi nalele abone naye kumvelela la endlini yakhe manje yabona angikwati kubisela ngakubona
lento yangivelela vele angisayithe ngoba laba yabona stress bangathi ngitshontshe indoda ngoba ngathi itshontshe ngizoba senhlangiwana nami esikoleni ngasabi nemngane.
Kenneth carries lifelong scars. He's also infertile from the blows to his genitals. The offending teacher had to pay a fine. Her union feels she should not have lost her job.
Even if a person is discharged from work, but we should be able to put a mechanism in place so that when he's given the second chance to come back to the system, you know that you are talking about a clean person. I mean, I'll give you an example. How would you then begin to agree that we need to rehabilitate drug addicts and put them back into the community and not rehabilitate people who torture other people?
But you do agree that by virtue of her conduct, she is not fit and proper to be a teacher. Do you or don't you agree?
Yes, we agreed that the conducts are not acceptable in the teaching fraternity. But we do agree that that particular person can then be rehabilitated and be back into the system, especially that she has been teaching for the past 20 years and she only committed to one mistake of torturing. Therefore, to us, we are saying that she has not repeated the same thing for the second time. Therefore, she needed to be given a particular chance.
Schools under siege. That's how Mpumalanga schools were recently described. It's barely 9 a.m. The police are already here to arrest a trespassing former pupil. He'd earlier in the year wreaked havoc at the school, sparking weeks of riots. The offending pupils accuse the principal of witchcraft.
This is the second time. It's that last year we had this problem where learners, they attended the show and they had some accidents and one of them died. Then they started throwing stones at the school saying they are being bewitched by the teachers. And they made some writings on the walls which were removed by the MEC. Saying they are being bewitched by the teachers who want to be strong.
Sounds almost funny, but not if you're a teacher facing a mob of stone-throwing pupils out to hurt you.
It's just like what is happening with the rural areas in KwaZulu-Natal. People move from our area here to those areas. So that's exactly. Last year, a learner threatened a teacher in the village with a gun. So we tried to talk this to the father, communicated this to the father. You know, always parents will play safe to say, I didn't know this. Well, we will try and solve the problem. It is very tough to be a teacher in this area.
Later the same day, special assignment visited a nearby primary school. There we find the familiar blue and white of the police van. Just minutes earlier, 2 gunmen had walked in, held up and then robbed the teacher, then simply walked out.
You see, it's just now that I'm turning.
According to Satu, it wasn't the first time.
Lana kuna lawa bantwana bonke malanga bangena ngezincwadi zamabhasi. Mwafika lana mtshele ukuthi ngena la office ukuqala. Ya mangena la office maphuma ahamba eklasini bamkhombe kulo ukuthi ayosayina khona. Masa qhamuka ngale lamanye amaklasi. La qhamuka ngawo manje siwangena phakathi kweklasi wamuka mistress isikhoma sakhe. Kuwe njalo. Masa abuya ngala umbona uphethe isibhamu manje la khona nesibhamu.
To us, this golf stick is not an armament of some kind, and it's useless in terms of to defend himself against people that are wielding guns at the level of the schools.
We're going to loot the class.
All the teachers at the school are women. This, they say, makes them easy targets for thugs to rob or attack them. They not only fear those who ambush them outside when they leave, some are brazen enough to walk right through the gate.
After that, waqhamuka umfana wavula sivalo wangena lapha eklasini wambuta athi awukwende njani ngoba wena ufunze lapha esikoleni waxosha lo mntwana lomncane abekade ehamba naye wamkhiphela ngaphandle. Then he raped the child.
Teachers say they love being here. Many have spent their entire working years at this school, but they are tired of teaching in fear.
Bathi labaqhamuka labafana ngathi mina kuSharon Sharon asivale amafasteri labafana bayeta naba baqhamukile labafana lo munye ubambe ngala ngemuva ngiSharon baphethe ibhama asivale amafasteri savala siyakhiya nabafika bathi vulani bashanga lesibhamu vulani nathi sesibona lesibhamu sesiyavika nathi yabona ngokubona ukuthi naku sebashutha vele bashaya vele lethi inhlavu lo munye wathi manje soshayelani waya ngale ngakusharon lo munye eSharon sothi awuchubeka na ukuthi wena
khona ke lo munye okay lo munye kusho sibe akhomba lesibhamu la kimi sewasi lo munye ongamduli sebasuka ke bayabaleka mina ngizake bathi ngibabuke ngoba bengithukile kakhulu ngishobelele phansi kwalesithi ngimemeda ready kuphela ukuthi ngicela ningasibulali siyekeleni ngiloko nje lengathi ngakwenza
umthetho asuvumeli ukuthi sihlome ngoba bathi mhlambe siyakwata bese sishaya labantwana kanti sisuka mhlambe nathi sicabanga ukuthi singativikela sibuye sicabange nalo lokho ukuthi umthetho vele awuvumi.
The department recently rejected suggestions that teachers arm themselves in this province or any province. Give us alternatives then, the teachers say.
Ngaso sonke isikhathi kusekuseni kusemini noma kunzambama sitholakala singakaphephi. Singajabula ama-government angasenje athathe inyathelo letinqonywana asitfolele ama-security langcono langasive nathi siphephile ngoba akusimnandi usuke ekhaya wati kahle ukuthi la uyakhona ukaphephi kungenteka noma yini ngawe.
Petrus Dumisa is a principal in Mpumalanga. The school is set in a scenic spot overlooking the nearby Kruger Park. His baptism of fire came before he could even notice the view on his very first day.
I heard noise outside, and thereafter it was followed by a gunfire, and yeah, I did not know what to do at that point in time, and scared as I was on my first day, I really moved together with the other teachers that were available, and stones were just raining, and then we moved into this office. We locked ourselves in, and there is a small window outside, and more stones were being thrown from that side, and then we just went under the table and tried to cover our heads and use chairs, to protect ourselves, to make sure that those stones which were coming through the windows should not necessarily hit us.
The pupils were angry that they had not been consulted on who the new principal would be. The community said he had not introduced himself to the chief.
My regional directors, and together with the other people from the Department of Education in Mpumalanga, they became very much instrumental in making sure that there is a common understanding, bringing the chief on board also. And then I was taken to the chief, I was introduced to the chief, and that was resolved.
SATU says its members can't teach when their lives are in danger. It says the government has ignored its calls for proper security. They feel that slogans like gun-free zones are little more than lip service.
We are advocating for schools to be areas of free gun zones. But at the same time, when you look at the safety and security of those educators, because next time they're going to be shot, as I indicated, there's one incident where a principal has been shot at close range. Therefore, if you cannot protect yourself, who's going to protect you?
There are some possible solutions, like stationing police at schools. For many schools, this would be a luxury, but essential, if we are to stamp out the growing anarchy.
You can't only deal with it only as an educational issue, and it's not only as an issue of resources in education only, but also it's an issue of resources in the communities. For example, in some of the communities where there's huge problems of violence in schools, the police stations are not operational, there's no vehicles, there's not enough staff.
The Yizo image of schools appears not far off the mark, but then again, so is the reality of the life beyond these school gates.
Gun-free South Africa is not only wanting to work with schools, but also with the communities around the schools, so that the schools don't feel uncomfortable that they are standing there saying no firearms, yet the community is wanting to attack them.
These schools need to become places of safety and of learning once again. Until then, there will always be someone ready to take the gap.
Why don't you go get a job then?
When? Where?
When you finish school.
Finish school, wet? Mvitu kanjani ngoba imali yesikela ngizoyitholaphi? Ngihlala nomakriza uyasokola si7 eladlini. Njengoba ngisho yabona. Ya sina time. So itholaphi imali ukuthi manje sithola isipani. Singena isikela. Well right ngoceda isikela ama university. Imali university izoyithola. Yayithola lena.
It ain't a surprise, you still like Wowabunga. Wanna contest? It's cold and hot.